Let's talk about law and order. Our next speaker is a law professor, and she works with sustainability and other issues at the law firm Cirio in Stockholm. She is also one of the founders of Nolla utanförskapet, which is an organization that helps out young people that have been into different problems. Well, you can ask her all about that maybe during the break. Now, Sanna Wolk from Cirio is here to talk about sustainability and the law. Sanna. Välkommen.
I'm going to talk about gender equality soon. I was back to diapers. I was working in a shop in the end of the 80s who sold diapers and different stuff for kids. And it actually came the diapers that was knitted. I don't know if anyone uses it, but you had knitted diapers with a special soap. I don't think it was a big hit. But I was actually quite amazed that somebody was thinking about when we were living in already then in a world where we were just consuming, and you could especially see that for the kids' shops, because the parents were coming there and they was just buying everything they could saw, if it was pink or blue. We are better nowadays with the pink and blue. But that started me to think about recycling as such, I would say. And then I went on to the university and became a doctor. And then I suddenly saw, oh my God, what a gender difference it is. Because we are starting always like 50 female, 50 male, and we are getting out like 9% male and 10% women on the top rank. And so I started looking into that and realized that every time that we are getting, that was in academia, every time we were getting too many professors, it was usually when we were getting too many female professors, that changes the regulation how to become a professor. So you can see that from why we have more male professors than female professors in Sweden. So it's quite interesting. And I thought that I had to do something about that. Wasn't really into law. I was at law school, not for the law. I was actually there for something else, because we had very good, I would say, time to not be at school and do other stuff. But then suddenly I realized I have to do something. So I get out quite high grades, started my doctoral work, and when I was done, I tried to make a change in the academia. And when I talked to my professor, it was a female male, and I told them what I want to do. I thought, I think we have to work more with female to get them more exposed, so they get the academic base work, so they also can become professors, and also young people. And they said, of course we can do that, but it wouldn't gain us. And then I was like, what? So I get pissed. So, and they also told me that if I'm going to do something, I always have to be blessed by them. So that then I became even more pissed, I would say. So then I went out. I'm very good in talking, so I went to the Wallenbergs and said, I want to start an institute. And the focus on the institute is going to, in my area, that's IP law, copyright, patent, trademark. And that young people and female should be more exposed in IP law and have a quicker way to become professors, you have to have publications, you have to have doctoral candidates, and to get money for them to actually become it in a quick way. And the Wallenberg said, of course, we're going to support you for that. And so I started my institute, and we made a change in the IP part of the academia in 5 years. And that was very quick. So we also did it on the market, on the private practice. So when I was done with that, as you mentioned, I don't know, he disappeared. Oh, there you are.
Did I disappear?
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Sorry. And when I was done with that, I gave that work to another, a younger person who is more suited for that and work with that, and started to see what can I do now instead. Since I'm working with law, but I'm still very interested in responsibilities, especially social responsibility. And then I started, as you mentioned, Nu Nolla Utanförskapet, but that's a sidekick project who's working with youngsters from different areas around the bigger city in Sweden to actually get connections and get motivated to higher education. And I couldn't really do that because I'm still passionate about law and IP law, so I thought I'm really doing this good, but that's not where my heart is, to just work with integration of youngsters. And then actually Cirio, when it started, they contacted me last summer and asked me how to build an IP department, since I'm the biggest professor in IP, or was, because I'm not anymore at the academia in that such a way. And how to start an IP department went very large business law firm. And then I thought, yeah, you should hire this person, and because they are good and they have skills in that and that. And then I said, but what you really should do, what no big business firm does, is actually working with sustainability and social sustainability. And we have a big problem in the law business, in the legal industry. It's male. And you probably shouldn't say that in a room, but it's male and very white male. There are no female, and the color are more to that side than that. And that's a big problem. And when we started to discuss, because they got back to me a couple of months later, because I told them what I thought they should do. And then they asked me, would you like to do this? Would you like to build our IP department, but also to make a real work with sustainability at the law firm? Because we want to have a sustainability offer to our clients. But as you said, we can't have that without to actually make a good internal work. And I think that is very important, to always also work internally. And that's different from branch to branch. For it's much about company culture. And what the market says and the society says, it hasn't such an impact on actually for us to get clients. So for us, it's very, very important to be responsible by ourselves and build a company culture that actually try to have a gender equal workplace. And we are looking quite a lot at facts when we're building our company culture. And what we have, because I'm coming from academia, you really have to look at facts. You can never think anything. You really have to have a base for it. And what we see when we looked at the fact, it's actually that that female disappear usually to our companies when they got the second or third child, and then the male are at the law firms, and that's why we have more males that are partners than females. Then we made it was a couple of weeks ago, I sent it out, just an inquiry to our lawyers, and just asked, do you think that you have the same baseline and the same possibilities to actually become partners? And 95% of the guys said, of course we have. 45 of the females said that. So it's quite interesting that we have the views that are totally different, and it starts already when you're just entering into the law firm. So we are working quite a lot of that with company culture and see where we can make a change. The first change we made actually is that we have a trade agreement for a collective agreement with a trade union for our lawyers. We are the only business law firm in Sweden who has it. You don't have that at law firms. And that's the first step to actually just take a responsibility. That's a lot of other branches have. And the next thing we are doing now is to work very, very specifically with gender and how to have an equality as regard on which positions you are in the firm. Because if you're on a higher position, or if you are the one who is the pictures on the slide, nobody reads slides anymore. That's why I only have one picture. So, and what you see is always the faces. Then you perhaps see the text. And if you have, like the leadership is too male, of course you are just seeing that. It doesn't matter if you have sub-leaderships that are female. So we're working quite a lot with those different aspects. And if you look at the legal tools, I would say it's very different from business to business how to work with sustainability as such. But what I would say I think is the most important is actually first always to look and change the company culture. Because when you have the employees, you actually also can take it out. So they have, if you have recyclable goods, they have to believe why it is a good recyclable goods. And this is the same for a law firm. They have to need to feel that we are responsible for all our employees, not just the male part, that we have a problem in the business. I think the society have a pressure on quite a lot of business and also the market. Especially the market when you're dealing with bond or private banking or whatever. We have like really shitty business. For example, the gambling industry is nobody's really in private banking anymore buying those shares. And they have a problem there. So they can't work with the market in that aspect. They have also to work on the company culture and go that way because they're still a business. They still want to earn money. And if you have other businesses, for example, when you have something that has a big impact on the environment, then you have a society that is larger, I would say, has a larger pressure than the law and the market. The market's just following, oh my God, we're going to go in for the green obligations or something because it sounds good. Not that easy, but almost sometimes. It has been an upswing, I would say, on the economic market, how you look at sustainability and companies this last 6 months. And it's really quite interesting what they are looking now at. Before it was quite a lot about the environment. Now they're looking at how is the salary gap. Are you allowed to go to the workout or something when you're at working hours, at office hours? And so they are ticking off other boxes that we actually don't really have. We have them in the law, but not in such extent what the investors actually are ticking in now. So it's been a big change this last 6 months, how investment are done from the market. And that is going more for social than environmental issues actually nowadays. The legal tools, of course you have them, but I don't think that's the most important. I think we use the legal tools when we know what the goal is for the business as regards sustainability and how it is connected to actually have a good business, a successful business. And then we also know how to do it. And then we also can use the legal tools, both inside and external. And it's much more beyond regulatory. That's what I would like to talk about today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sanna. Härligt. Any questions for Sanna? Any questions, Sanna? I was thinking, we were talking about targets here before.
Yeah.
Would you say the law business is ready or interested in setting targets and changing the situation?
I would say yes and no.
All right.
What we have seen the last years that a lot of law firms have policies. But the actions plans are not really there. They don't have, and I think you should have a baseline. For example, 2090 we have X and Y partners that are male and female, and then be brave 2020, and then be even braver 2021. And we don't really see that yet. A lot of firms are working, but it's still a tough business to make a change because you're always dependent on the clients. So I think I don't like to hand over responsibility to somebody else because you always have to be responsible for what you're doing. But of course, the clients can put the pressure on the law firms and involve more, for example, females. You know, we are better. We have higher grades.
For sure, yeah. That was my next question. Are female lawyers better than men?
Of course we are.
Of course we are. Sanna, thank you very much. Tack så jättemycket. Härligt. Tack så mycket.